Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about API tokens, right? So API tokens in the context of Defender for cloud apps, right? And what that API token is going to do and how it's going to be helpful for different use cases and different scenarios for the Defender for cloud applications, right? And there are many use cases where we as an organization and majorly from the security point of view where each team or each organization that they are following certain range of method in order to collect the details, in order to analyze those logs or be it application actions or user actions, and they wanted to make sure how people are accessing the details, right? And to build that workflow or to build that automation, this API token is going to be very helpful, right? So there is a complete flow that we can go ahead and use with using API token. At the same time, it also needs to be registered in Enter ID by registering an application, give it appropriate permissions, and then the API token is going to be the key here to get the access to all the cloud API or cloud apps APIs where it is going to perform the actions like run the investigation, right? It also going to discover the all different reports that we are going to simply find out, and then it's going to be basis on the two different contexts. One is with signed in user and one is with daemon or kind of service accounts, right? So those are the two contexts where which is also called as delegated and application context, right? And from both of those ways or both of those methods, we would be able to get the reports and perform that automation, right? So it's not only for the signed in user or the specific user who has appropriate rights to perform those actions, but the other side, which is going to be a kind of service account that can be used with this as well, right? So before starting, I would request you to just like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, right? All right, so let's go ahead and start. Let me share my screen and I'll show you how we can create it. And also I'll give you an example with approach how it should be started and what are the steps that you can take, right? So I'm not going to get into the demo directly because definitely that's going to be something which is going to taking a lot of time where it needs to create application, give it appropriate permissions and everything together. But definitely that's going to be something that is really helpful, right? So let me share my screen here and we can start off. All right, you can see I'm on Defender portal here, and to go ahead and get or generate access token, we need to go to the settings over here, and under settings, we have a bunch of options or settings for each of those workloads, which are a security part or which are part of security product suite, right? Including Defender portal, XDR, endpoints, email and collaboration, identity, cloud apps, and Sentinel, right? So the one which is going to be this one, which is cloud apps, right? Over here, we have bunch of settings that we can go ahead and configure, and all those options would be configured for different purposes or for different use cases, right? But for now, I'm just going to focus on API tokens, where we can simply get the token, and it's going to help us to perform the automations on Defender portal to get the reports and do the investigations and all of that kind of activities, right? Now, when the company has bigger organization or the company is very big and they wanted to streamline their security operations, not only for user identities, but for data and applications and access levels, the cloud app security is the one solution. It has a lot many things to provide, right? And it's going to help in lot many scenarios, right? So let's click on API tokens where we can go ahead and create one, and the same token can be registered and used with uh, application or the application which we will use or register in Enter ID. All right. So you can see that here I have created one of the token before, and this token is only visible only once, right? Once you create and cross that window, it's not going to show you later. So there's either directly option to delete it. So for now, I'll just remove it because I did not copy that token, and remove token. And you can see it has successfully deleted that, and we got the message as well. All right, now I wanted to create a brand new one. So I'll click add button, and I just need to give it a name, something like cloud apps for defender reporting, right? Now this is the name that is pretty straightforward and easy. So I'll just hit generate button over here. And once we click on it, it's going to simply generate that token, right? You can see that this is the token it has generated, and it has also linked our tenant URL, right? Now this is in context of Defender for Cloud App Security, right? You would see that over here in the URL, which shows cloudappsecurity.com, and this is the complete URL, right? And this is basically going to provide this access or API token to access the all the cloud app security APIs, right? Now this token is generated. I'll just simply copy it, and we can use it for different scenarios. Different scenarios, as in, you can see it's a very long string, which is alphanumeric, right? And this is going to provide access to all those APIs, right? So what are those APIs? I'll show you that as well. And this is going to be the tenant URL for Cloud App Security. So I'll just copy it separately, and we have created that successfully now, right? Once we are good, we should just click that cancel or cross button, and that is ready. Now it's ready. We can go ahead and use it. Now, how we should use it, or what are the ways to use it, right? So there is a document which just gives a basic information about this one, and including application context, which I talked about, and user context, right? And these both contexts are available for us to go ahead and use with intra-registered applications, right? Now, there are different use cases. It's not only the single use case wherein we would go ahead and create one and then use it. And the recommended part here is with application context. Why? Because this gives us an capability to run all those automation and workflows in the background, and really don't have to rely on human intervention on it at all. Because if user is available, then only the reporting or the actions would happen. Otherwise, it is not going to happen at all. But if we have set up the workflow and automation in the run, it's going to keep running even if there is no user logged in or any activities are available to perform that action, right? So this is the context given over here that we can go ahead and do on both application as well as your user context, right? And to access with application context, you can go ahead with this document, which has a lot of steps. I'm just showing you because this has the steps, and even I can show you the steps by registering an applications and adding the appropriate permissions to it, right? But I wanted to show you the appropriate permissions. What are those permissions which are supported and in scope, right? So these are the list of permissions where this application or in the Defender for Cloud Apps context, these are the permissions that can be supported. And these are the API permissions basically. And you can add those permissions to the registered applications in Enter ID, and that application would use this application or API token in the application header to run that code, right? And to do that, it is going to be using the URL, right? And then that is going to provide or generate the uh, reports, right? Basis on that, it's going to simply execute that one. And here's the token to access Defender Portal API. So this way, it's going to be simply picking up that details and generate that one, or generate the report basically. I think this is the same one, application context. Yeah, this is the one. And there is a REST API format as well, which we can simply, how we can collect these details, which I showed you, right, from the portal. And then that this is going to be allowing us to run that as well. So this is the curl URL to generate, and these are the different methods or actions, which includes activities, alerts, data enrichment, entities, files, right, with different verbs, get, post, and delete, right, and the URI routes, right, where it is going to simply be supported, right, and there are some of the types which are also supported, including string, boolean, integer, and timestamps, right. So these are also available, and that can be used with the reporting when these capabilities would be helpful, right? So whenever you are building an automation and you wanted to bring that to the workflows, that way, or in that case, you would need all of these things to export the report, get the investigation details, or to investigate further on the security incidents or alerts and all of those kind of activities, right? And that is why these documents or these steps are very helpful in those scenarios, right? And the one which I created over here, that's going to be the one which is going to provide a lot of uh, sense here to provide the details and provide it. All right. So let's jump on to the Entra side, and I'll register one of the application with this name so that we can identify that one. And once we do that, it should simply provide, or it should be ready for use. All right, let's give it a name and register. All right, so the same steps are given in the this document as well, but I'm still showing you so that you can go ahead and see or watch it, right? You can see that these are the steps we have to do or follow. And this is the one of the permissions where we wanted to add to that application, read all alerts. Once we do that, everything is ready. Let's jump on to the permissions and add the permissions. And it's application permission that we are going to add, because seems something is not correct. Okay, it says Microsoft Cloud App Security. So it's going to show it here. No, it is not showing. Let me find what is it. Okay, I think it's just, here's the permission in the application context. So this is just an application, and to enable the access to the API, add permissions, API, my organizations. Okay. Okay, so this is a part of API side where it is going to simply show over here. And it is going to, I have given it a name. Okay, it did not yet list out here, but yeah, definitely we have to give it a permission, which is this one. All right, this one. Investigate.read, investigation.read to read all those. Oh, it's not still showing. Not sure why. Let me just refresh this page and see what is missing over here. Where in the original list, start writing its name in the box to appear it. Okay, make sure the type this name, even though the product is now called as this one. Okay, so what it says is to enable the Defender Cloud App assign it this permission on your application page. Okay. Okay, so in this case, we need to just simply copy this one. Okay, and then click here, add permissions, and then type it here. All right, you can see that it has listed out and we need to add it here, right? And then we have options to add the application permissions because we wanted to do that separately. And you can see that under the different categories, including discovery, investigation, and settings, we are going to add this read permissions and add permissions to it, right? So now it is added and we need to grant the consent to it, right? So once that is done, this permission or this application has the appropriate permissions to execute all those actions, right? And that means everything is ready. And then we can go ahead and create secrets and use all of that. So I'll just go ahead and create secrets for this application as well under the certificates and secrets and create one by giving it a name, and I'll keep it for small duration because I'm just going to. So I have copied this one. That means this is ready to use. And once we are good here, we can just copy the application ID or client ID and tenant ID. And then this application is ready for usage, right? So this is how it's going to be pretty straightforward in order to use it. And then we should be ready to go ahead and use it. Now we need to go to the next step is to add this authentication method as well, where we just need to add the authentication method or URI to authenticate. So I'll just go ahead and add this URI here. Okay, it should be redirect URI, supported type should be okay, and then it should be good. All right, I think it's the web one and portal.azure.com. We can just set it up. All right, so now it is set up as needed, and we can add the access token and ID token as well in case we wanted to add more into that. And that should be easy for us to set it up, right? So this is pretty straightforward, and we can simply uh, use these APIs and perform the actions, right? So here's the script, right, which is going to be allowing us to be able to execute or get the access token, right? So to get that, either we can do using C# or there's a Python library, and also we can get the this one as well. right? And if we get this answer, that means we should be good. So I'll just simply open CMD prompt here and I'll run the curl so that we get to see or run this complete URL, right? So I'll just maximize it. I'll just copy this one because we have to build that curl URL and we have to give it a client secrets. Okay, client ID and scope as well, right? So we need to put client secrets here. So this is the client secret that I have copied, right? And then I will simply pick up the tenant ID from this application, which is registered over here, which is client ID. So this is going to be the client ID. And then tenant ID. So here's the tenant ID that we need to put under the tenant ID over here. Right. So our curl URL is ready. We should just simply copy it and we should be ready to go ahead. And we should be ready to start. Okay, it has given a bad request. That means it did not work or it did not run successfully, right? So there's one thing that is missing, which is a scope, right? So we have to define that scope. Let me go back here. Okay, so in this case, what it says is client ID secret. Okay. Okay. I think curl is not installed yet on the device. So that's why this is going to, let me open this in the Python library. So we should have, I'll just get that Python method and should be good to execute that in the Python method. Okay. That should be easy enough. Okay, so this is already completed. Consent is granted. Now MSAL process a clean separation between public confidential clients. Okay. Later, each time you would want to access token, you start typing, you start by this one. Okay. The MSAL provides explicit. Okay. Okay. So this is how it's going to be. And I don't have this curl URL. So let me find what it is saying is curl for Windows is already installed. I'll simply look for curl URL installation. Okay. Curl for Windows. Well, 8 point. Okay. So I'll simply get that one curl for Windows 64-bit. So this is that one, and that should be pretty easy. So let's open it, and we should be ready to just install it. It is under bin, this one, curl. Okay, so first we need to extract all of this, and then once it is extracted, we should be good because it may need support from other files to be executed during the installation and install all of them. It's in bin here, and this one. Windows protected your PC. Okay, Defender Smart Screen prevent unauthorized. Okay, so this is showing because there is a setting which is enabled in order to protect the Windows PC, and that's why it's simply not allowing to run this curl.exe file. But I can run it, and let's see if it is bypassing that check and see if it is allowing to run, right? And we should see that change. That is still not it because this scope over here mentioned is not correct. I think let me change the scope. Just a minute. Okay, so is that, let me pick up the tenant ID. And now let's go ahead and run this one. Up, it's still bad request. Okay, so seems there is something that is really needed or that's not working, and it's missing over here because I have added client ID, secrets, and the tenant ID with URL as well, right? But still it is not working as expected, right? So we can do one thing. Uh, I'll check that one and perform it, but yeah, that's going to take a bit of time. So yeah, this is how it should be. And once it is going to be authenticated and generate a access token for us, right? Then it should be easy to take it further, and then we can decode that access token, right? And decode means it's going to simply show you over here, which is shown in this image, right? Which is going to show roles as investigation.read permissions and then the specific ID of that one, right? So, yep, this is how it is going to be created and performed. And yep, that's way you can go ahead and set up the automation workflows and perform the different operations, right? And that's the main use of API tokens, right? So that's all I wanted to show you and talk about it. And let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, and anything that I can help and contribute on. And I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. So, yep, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, people around you, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, right? So, yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.